Say, hey, welcome. So glad you're here. And I just really like this nail polish. Now, it wasn't applied professionally, okay? But I think it's really pretty. I don't know. Something about it. Let me know. I'll be using some simple colors, I think. I have I think that's robin's egg, blue. I just love it. I kind of want to eat this clay. It reminds me of those little, like, Easter eggs that had, like, the milk chocolatey. No, it was like a malt ball, kind of a coating on the outside. And they're like speckled. They're like little robin's eggs. I think that's what they're called. And then I have this yellow. And really, you can use any colors you want to. But I'll be making a Skinner blend out of this. Just a 2-color Skinner blend. And if you're new to Skinner blends, this really isn't the video for that. But you'll kind of get the gist of what I'm doing. I have my 2 colors rolled into balls, and I prefer the method where you make teardrop shapes and then make the Skinner blend that way. I just find it the easiest and simplest way. You just pick your 2 colors, roll them out, make teardrops. You'll have to decide on your 2 colors, and then when you're deciding on your 2 colors, there will be a color in the middle that it will make when you roll it out together. So just kind of take that into consideration. So like if you were to do purple and green, your color in the middle may not be that pretty. So, just kind of be, aware of that as you're making your Skinner blends. But this yellow and blue is going to make a pretty green color. And I was thinking, you know what? If you just cut out a shape, boom, like that, like a teardrop shape, and had like a little piece on the top and a little piece on the bottom, I just think that would be really pretty. Very simple and very pretty. Maybe put some glitter on some of it. I don't know. So I stretched it out in my pasta machine on the thickest setting and then folded it in half. And then I kept going until I have my Skinner blend. Of course, make your Skinner blend as smooth blending as you want it to be, or as rough blended as you want it to be. I think this is a kind of in the middle. You can kind of see the difference between the yellow and the green a little bit, but I'm not really too worried about it, and this clay is going to get stretched out a little bit more, so it ain't going to be noticed. I mean, we're here to have fun. We're not being perfectionists here, okay? At least I'm not. That's not what I do. I just like to have fun. So I rolled this out on my number 6, I believe it was, and then I folded it in half. I want it to be a pretty thick piece. I am going to kind of thin this out a little bit more as we go, so I wanted it to start out pretty thick. So that's just kind of a side view for you. And I'll be using this purple. Again, you can use whatever color you feel like complements your piece, and it's, I believe, called violet. So I chose purple because it went well with the yellow and the blue. So that's kind of why I chose the purple. You kind of have to pick, if you're not going to use the same colors I'm using, pick one that looks good. Just kind of visualize, or you can get a color wheel and kind of pick a color that's going to complement it. Anywho, or you could pick a really bold color that's going to be a stark contrast. I rolled out the purple into a very long, thin snake. And then I kind of zigzagged it. And I did that because I wanted to measure out how it's going to fit on my piece to make sure that I have enough clay. You never want to go through these things and then not have enough clay. So you kind of got to plan a little bit. So I made sure I had enough, and I did. I took some white. This is a glitter white clay. It already had glitter in it. I recommend doing that instead of putting actual glitter in your clay, because it does kind of tear it up. But anyway, that is the clay. This is so pretty. I don't know. It reminds me of like snowflakes, but I'm using it in this piece, and it worked well. So I rolled that out to a number 6. If you don't have a pasta machine, you can just roll this out. You can do it on a piece of paper. That way you can make it thinner and it doesn't stick to your work surface. I always find that that's a big problem the thinner you go. But Premo is pretty good clay, so you really don't have to worry too much about it sticking. It's a pretty firm, solid clay. I'm going to wrap the purple clay in the white clay. I chose white because I thought that it would be the most, I guess, stark contrast to the purple. You could do black if you wanted to, but I was kind of going for like a really light, summery, vibrant, springy kind of a feel here. So just wrap that around, just trim off all the excess, make it nice and smooth. And if it's not completely perfect, you can just kind of pinch it together and then just continue rolling it. If a little bit of the purple shows through, it's okay, because we are going to be continuing to play with this and you're not going to be able to notice it. And even if you do, it's going to look like it's part of the design. That's what I love about this. You'll have to decide which way you want your little zigzags to go, up and down or the crosswise. So kind of decide how you want that to go, and then start zigzagging your rolled up clay over top. Now I'm not pressing it down into the clay, I'm just using this as a guide, so I make sure that I get a piece that's going to be wide enough for my piece of clay. So I actually have plenty, and I have a little bit left over, so that's always nice to make sure you have enough. And of course, I'm going to be using this because I show you what I do with all my scraps. So put that aside and I'll play with that later. Then kind of gently peel that off the top, keeping the shape of it. And then we'll just put aside the beautiful clay that we have rolled out and just concentrate on our little squiggles. It's kind of a fun word. Say it with me. But don't say it really fast, because then it might come out as something you don't want to say. And you can burnish your piece if you want to. I did like lightly burnish it, but we are going to roll this out and we do need it to be kind of thin. But do it in a way that it's going to not distort the lines. I do want them to be relatively straight. I don't want to have really wide spots in some areas and then really thin spots. So I really took my time and kind of was pulling it apart and pinching it and just lightly rolling it and burnishing it, and I just kept playing with that. When I got it thin enough, I started running it through my pasta machine, one setting at a time, until I got down to the number 6, rolled it through on the number 6, and this is the piece. You can continue rolling it on a piece of paper if it's still not thin enough, which I'm gonna let you know this was not quite thin enough, but it still worked out. And if you don't get it thin enough, it's nothing to fret about. I'll show you here in a minute. So I only need a little piece of this. Luckily I have plenty left over, and we can make scrap clay projects with the remainder. So just cutting away all of the excess and putting those aside. We're going to make some scrap clay projects. Don't worry about all the excess clay. And I thought that was really pretty. I like the little dot, 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 dash, dash, dash kind of a look. I think that would be really pretty if you wanted to try to make something out of that. I don't know. I might try to do something in a future video. It kind of inspired me a little bit. I hope it inspires you too. And then I'm just going to lightly, get it stuck to the other piece of clay. Very gently roll it on there. Make sure no air bubbles. You'll see it's pretty thick. Good to go. We're good to go. We're ready to go. You can choose whatever stencil you want. I was going for light, springy kind of a thing, so I thought, you know what? This flower one is going to be perfect. And then you really can move it around wherever you want to, and there's so many different flower patterns on this. That's why I love it so much. And each cut's going to be different, and you're going to have all these beautiful different kinds of flowers and flower petals. So kind of decide where you want your stencil to lay, and of course use any stencil you want. Just play with it. Maybe make a couple of different versions of this. I actually do. I'll make a second one you'll see in a little while. You want to put your stencil on there and give it a nice firm roll. You want all of the clay to kind of pop up through the top, and you'll see there my top layer of striped clay is not thin enough, but that is okay. Just scratch off as much as you can, or scrape off I should say, and then just go back over it with the roller, again pulling the clay up through the stencil, and then you can start scraping off the layer. And you'll see there, it finally came through. Perfect, beautiful, nothing to fret about. Honestly, you can make it show through as much as you want to, the color in the background. You can make it a very prominent outline or kind of make it look kind of faded by not taking off as much clay. Play with it. See what you like. And then this is it. I really like it. I really like the way it came out. I'm just actually in love with this, guys. I'm in love with it. I need to wear this somewhere. I need to get like a little summer dress and some flippy flops and just do my thing. And then cut out your shapes. There's so many to cut out. Okay, that's put aside. I'm going to show you the scrap clay. I'll show you what I made at the end. The suspense is building, my folks. It's building. So these are all the little pieces, and those are the little striped pieces I had cut away, like the little scraps and stuff. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to get that chopped up into little bitty pieces. I just like the little squigs that come out of there. I don't know. It's so much fun, and I am going to make a piece out of that. You just wait and see. And then with all of the others, I'm just going to chop those really into pretty small pieces and then kind of mix all of the piles together and then kind of just compact it and make it into a rectangular kind of a shape. You can just take this and put it in a mold and then just make a piece out of the scrap if you want to. It's totally up to you. But I thought this would be really pretty to kind of experiment and see what it looks like using the same technique as I did in this project. Put some striped on the top, the mixed up clay, chopped up clay on the back, roll it out, use a stencil. I'm going to use a different stencil. I decided to use this one. I kind of like it. It's the spaces are a little bit more wide open, so more of the color is going to show through on this one as opposed to the flower ones. It wasn't quite as big as open spaces as this one. And then, I don't know, I just thought it was really fun. It's kind of a busy pattern, but it's definitely fun. And then I'll show you that piece at the end. And then I'm going to take all my little stripey things and just kind of stack it into a nice like cubed kind of a shape here. And there it is. I really just like that little pattern. I don't know. Something about it. It just appeals to me. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to cut little strips off. And then I'm going to put those in a nice, neat, orderly pile, or as orderly as scrap clay can be. And they're all kind of going in the same general direction. Some overlapping in some spots. I don't know, kind of fun. And then just gently patting it together and working out all the seams and getting it all stuck together and making it beautiful and cohesive and lovable. And then just make a piece out of that. And then these are my pieces that I made. So this is from the very first project. I cut out 2 earrings and they're just beautiful. I just love them. I'm going to keep these for myself. The rest of these I will eventually get rid of. I'm still trying to figure out how to sell all my pieces or where I can sell them. I tried Etsy, but it just didn't work out for me. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pieces that I really need to do something with. And then this is the second piece I made from that same pattern with the flowers. I just made like little diamond-shaped earrings. I just love these. They're so simple, so fun. I don't know. What would you guys add to this? Would you add anything to it? Maybe some glitter? Let me know. And then this is that second one with the scrap clay chopped up on the back and the little busy pattern on the front. It came out really nice. The back's really pretty. You could do front or back pattern. And then the one on the left is the little dashes. And then the one on the right, I didn't show you, but it's basically all the scraps. And I just kind of put it into a mold and popped it out, and that was it. So it was kind of fun and funky and fresh, kind of like me. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!